welcome once again to Calaveras Living. Now, on today's program, we're going to talk about a very important subject, and important to students, important to parents, important actually to our whole school system and to our economy. We're going to talk about homeschooling. And we have actually three experts here. I'm going to give them all a bad time. But next to me, and of course, let's see, what should we say now? Jaylynne Rhinehar is in the center here, and of course she's a student, and then to her right is Jaylynne. Jaylynne. I still can't get that. Jaylynne Redman, and she is a mentor teacher.
Correct.
With the Calaveras County Office of Education.
Mountain Oaks Charter School, right.
Pardon?
Mountain Oaks Charter School under the umbrella of Calaveras County Office of Education.
Under the umbrella. That's important in winter.
That's true.
And then to Caitlin's left is Ann Colman, and she's an administrator at the office there. So actually I could start with any of you because you all know a lot about it, but you've been with the county how long?
Since 1999.
Okay, have you been an administrator all that time?
Oh no, I started out as a mentor teacher. Well, I was a parent. My kids were enrolled in Mountain Oaks, and I foolishly volunteered for a committee. And then they found out that I had a credential, and it kind of rolled from there. I taught for about, I want to say 6 or 7 years, and then went into administration.
Okay, now Jaylynne, you've been there quite a while.
I started in 2006.
Okay, and you are what they call a mentor teacher?
A mentor teacher, correct.
What are your main duties?
They're multifaceted, really. I do independent study with older kids, and they meet one-on-one with me during the week, and we go through their academic coursework, have tutoring, etc. And I also work with families who are homeschooling their children, and basically help the parents and work with them with curriculum and the state standards, the new Common Core technology. And I also do workshops, advanced English, earth science, life science, where we have small group direct instruction.
So you kind of supplement what the parents are doing?
Definitely, yes.
Okay. Do a lot of the parents need help? Do they feel they're unqualified to teach their kids because of either lack of education or lack of time?
I don't really think they feel unqualified. It's just as kids get older and the subjects become more specific, everyone can use a little bit of help.
Yeah, oh, can't we all? Now, Caitlin, how old were you when you started homeschooling?
I started homeschooling in 3rd grade.
3rd grade?
Yes.
How did that come about? Your parents just wanted to do that?
Yes, and I had a hard time concentrating at that age.
Oh, too busy playing, huh?
Yeah. And I was homeschooled until my freshman year, and I was put in a charter school / public school in Woodland, which is by Sacramento. And I did that for all freshman year. We moved up to Amador County, and we found Mountain Oaks a year later. And I did homeschooling up to my junior year after freshman year.
Good. But it's going well?
Yes.
Good. What benefits do you see to you? I mean, over just going to a regular school?
I would say my grades were a lot better than what they were when I was in an actual public school. The curriculum I was able to work with a lot better than what is actually in a public school half the time. I just felt like I had a lot more aid from teachers than I did in an actual public school.
Both your mom and your dad taught you?
My mother did, and she taught me until probably around my 7th grade, and then I started taking courses through an instructor through the homeschool program I was in at the time.
I understand you're doing very well, too.
I would say so.
You must be concentrating better.
In 3rd grade, yeah.
Now, Ann, how many young people are homeschooled in the Calaveras area?
Well, in the Calaveras area, about 300.
300?
Yeah, with us.
Okay.
And there are other ways to homeschool.
Okay, so there are more doing it who don't work through you, right?
Right.
But who administers everything? when parents, I mean, they have to be kind of critiqued periodically, and
Right.
the young people have to be critiqued too in their progress. Who does that?
Well, at Mountain Oaks, the mentor teachers do that.
Okay.
They meet with the student at the end of every semester, and they kind of get the student's take on how they're doing. And then there's a reality check with the parents, and then there's a reality check with the teacher. And it's almost a collaborative, but the mentor teacher ultimately is responsible for the assessment, the assigning of credits and grades.
Who performs those services for the people who are kind of outside the system? I mean, they're just teaching at home. The state has some requirement, right?
Well, they can file a public school affidavit, and they really don't have a lot of oversight. But the upshot of that is they won't have an accredited transcript.
Oh, is that right? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
So how often did you see, say, each student? I mean, you see them each semester?
I see my students predominantly once a week.
Once a week, that are,
Right,
okay.
and then if they need additional assistance, they can come in for additional tutoring or additional help. Also, we do a lot over the phone if they have questions. By email, I use Google Docs for Education, and so they can email me basically 24/7 and say, I don't understand, I would like help, I need another direction. Some students choose to meet less frequently, but generally they've been homeschooled for a very long time, and I have them check in and come in for a meeting every other week.
And you cover the whole spectrum from K through 12?
My load changes every year. I specialize in grades 7 through 12, but I've taken elementary students. In fact, I have a 4th grader this year.
Okay, a 4th grader. Mm-hmm. What do you feel, being in the business, so-called, for a while now, what are the real benefits of homeschooling over just going to a public school or a private school?
I think it's very much what Caitlin says. First off, we develop an individualized learning plan. Mm-hmm. So when we meet with the student and the family, we assess their talents, we assess their, shall we say, a weakness in their skills. Perhaps they've forgotten a particular skill set, and so we work on remediation if necessary. We develop curriculum that fits their needs, their career goals, but it's very much the individualized approach. I mean, they get to be like family to you, mm-hmm. and they work very closely with you, and so you really get to know them, they really get to know you. And consequently, I think there's a comfort level of being able to just drop in, see my mentor, ask her a question that might not be available when other teachers in classrooms are just so busy.
Okay, and students or parents can feel free to do that?
Absolutely. In fact, personally, I encourage it.
Uh-huh.
And I do a lot of work via computer, and so my email is there at all times on their assignment sheets, and basically they're encouraged to contact me with any questions.
How many students would you have at any one time, generally?
I'm full-time, so I have 25 students on my individual roster.
Is that how you met?
And she met actually in an advanced English workshop that I also teach.
Okay.
And that class was roughly 9 to 12 students.
That they can drop, and these students are spread out around, I mean, how far away from your campus, really? I mean, they can...
I'd bow to Ann on that question.
Students can enroll in Mountain Oaks from any county that's contiguous to Calaveras, in addition to Calaveras.
Oh, so Amador, Tuolumne,
We have about 100 students in Amador and about 60 or 70 in Tuolumne.
Okay. Now, what responsibilities as an administrator, what are you concerned with day in and day out?
Oh, I kind of
You don't have to tell me everything.
I kind of stamp out fires.
Okay.
Is a lot of it, and then I just help the kids and reassure the parents, and when problems arise, the administrators are expected to handle the problems,
Okay.
and dole out the commendations too.
Okay. What are some problems that might crop up if a student isn't doing well? What, besides the help that the mentor teachers give them, what happens to a student who's just not doing well?
We have kind of a conventional way of approaching it. We have a family support team meeting. The teacher, the parents, the students, and an administrator get together, and we talk about what's going on and why the student is not being successful. And that can be a variety of things. And then we kind of brainstorm as a group and come up with interventions that we can try. and we do those. And ultimately, we decide whether or not the child is appropriately placed in an independent study or homeschool model.
And what if he or she is not appropriately placed?
You know what? We try to focus on the student. We'll refer them either to their district of residence or to another program we think they're better suited for.
What would be another program besides just regular public school?
Well, there are other charter schools.
Okay.
There are also alternative ed programs in the county.
Okay.
Sometimes we'll refer back to a district, but there might be a specific, like, independent study program at the district that would be more structured in some ways than we are.
Okay, but there are alternatives.
There are alternatives. There are always alternatives, yeah.
Well, that's good to hear. Now, Caitlin, how many hours a day or hours a week, or whatever way you want to put it, might your mom be teaching you?
I practically work on my own. I work about 4 to 5 hours a day on school, on homework.
Okay, but you're working from textbooks, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
When you were smaller, when she was teaching you some of the basics of English and math and history or whatever it is, how long would she spend of her time?
She would show me the work.
Pardon?
She would show me
Okay.
what I would be doing for that day. Explain it to me, the basics of what I needed to be doing and what I needed to get out of it, and I would work from it.
And then she would correct it?
Yes,
Okay.
but it was mostly independent.
Okay.
So,
Now, is that true of most parents?
Oh, it's true of a lot of parents. We try to encourage project learning. So there's a whole lot of math and a whole lot of science involved in planning and, maintaining and growing a garden, for example. And you can tie the standards into a lot of the projects. And that works really well with some of the younger students. The older students tend to want a more traditional approach usually. So they'll go to the textbook. We are a little bit different in that we have an adopted curriculum, but our adopted curriculum is kind of everything.
Okay.
So when it comes to algebra, we may have 8 or 9 different curricular choices,
Okay.
depending on how that child learns.
You kind of set the curriculum, though, that the school does?
We do, but we're always open to ideas from parents. Some of our best curricular items have come from parents, and the mentors are encouraged to find, resources and things that work for the kids. We have an academic decathlon team, and a lot of the English and economics and social studies curriculum is delivered through that for those kids.
How do you find homeschool students do, the older ones, as they go on to college?
I think they do really well. I call our program very much a collegiate approach because they do work independently. We work with them to help them learn to manage their time, which is certainly, when you're a freshman at college, becomes a major issue if you're not used to time management. Show them how to access different resources. With the internet now, there's so much on the web that they can learn from. So it's, if there's a particular example that they're working on, I encourage them to find other resources and really grow their learning, which I think is very much a collegiate approach.
Most all the kids have access to the internet?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, I think so.
Do any of them not have? Or
There's a
Yeah.
few, yes.
We have a few that do not have internet at home.
does that really limit them?
No, because they can come to school. We provide students with, we call it a one-to-one learning device. Mostly we're using Chromebooks at this point. And the students can check it out and use the Wi-Fi at school. And we also have piles of stuff in the library that are perfectly wonderful curriculum for somebody who doesn't.
So I'm getting the impression that most of the students who are homeschooled through this program actually come to your campus pretty often?
Some of them we hardly ever see. We're required to see them once every 20 days. That's the law.
Oh, once every 20 days.
But
The state law?
yeah.
Okay.
But realistically, we like to see them way more than that.
Okay.
Jaylynne's right, usually once a week. If they're pretty experienced, once every other week. If they're younger and they've been doing it a long time, then maybe once a month, but that's an exception.
How do you budget that time, Jaylynne? If if they just happen to drop in here, 6 kids coming in here, and then nobody in the morning.
Well, I think actually one of the nicest things is one of our parents donated benches in our hallway. So we often have a little line of kids on the benches.
Okay.
But I generally try to block out some just what I call paperwork time.
Okay.
It's almost as if it's office hours. So basically my day, I arrive about 8:30 and I generally leave about 4:30. And then it's not uncommon for me to check my emails and my phone several times during the evening and see if I can respond to someone by email or by phone.
Do you get to the school pretty often?
I come twice a week.
Twice a week. That's kind of a regular thing.
Yeah.
They know they're going to see you. Huh?
Oh, yes.
Then what do they tell you usually? Hey, you're doing great. Don't come back.
Usually the first, I'm doing well and
Yeah.
that I'm improving and
What's your most difficult subject?
definitely math.
Math. Huh?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, was your mom good at teaching? I mean, I think we can all teach the basics, but when it gets into algebra, trigonometry, and all those things, most parents, they can't even remember that they took them in school.
Yeah. If I needed help with a more advanced math, we would go to either a friend who would tutor me, or I would ask my math teacher. And we have math lab.
You have math, so you have actual teachers there who teach specific subjects.
Yes. Well,
You
we
can go to
have.
Yeah, we have workshops, we call them. They're actually classes. And so if you're a parent who doesn't want to tackle geometry one-to-one, the student can come to school 2 days a week. We have a block schedule. It's an hour and a half twice a week, and you receive the one-to-one direct instruction in geometry from a highly qualified math teacher. We consider it part of the curriculum. It's an option.
Now, is this costly for parents to have your services?
We're free.
Well, that's not too costly.
We're a publicly funded school, yeah.
Okay, so I think some people who homeschool kids, they think, oh, there are things like this and it's going to cost me more money.
No, we collect the ADA for students, just like a traditional classroom model school. And we use that to pay for the curriculum and the teachers and all the resources, the classes, the online programs.
Okay. So, I think of public school, a lot of kids, I mean, hundreds of them in big high schools and big grammar schools and middle schools. But still, it seems like people who are homeschooled through your school, they get a lot of socialization anyway.
They do, yeah.
So it's not that they're going to miss certain things. What do the guys do or the girls do for sports activities?
We have an athletic program. We do 6 sports a year. And the kids are encouraged to attend that. We have like PE classes for the younger kids. I think right now we're teaching Aikido. So there's a lot of opportunities for social interaction. We even have dances and a prom.
Well, cut that out. We can't have that going on.
It's a lot of fun. Those kids have a great time at the prom, and it's for all high school students. So.
Oh, that's really good.
Oh,
and
yeah.
when you speak of high school, you're thinking 4-year high school. I mean, you kind of go by the grade.
9 through 12, yeah.
Okay, 9 through 12. And middle school now is considered 6th, 7th, and 8th, or is that called junior high? Or
We consider 7th and 8th
7th
to be
and 8th.
junior high, and then there's the K-6 program.
Yeah, I know my granddaughter, she's going into 6th grade, and this is in Southern California, and they consider that junior high now.
Yeah, it depends on the school and the district, how they want to view 6th grade.
Now, I asked Jaylynne on the phone when we were talking a couple days ago, I said, how many fathers actually participate in homeschooling? And she says, didn't you say quite a few? I was surprised.
Yeah, more than you would expect. And some of them are the primary educator in the home.
Well, I guess you have some single parents, too?
We have some single parents.
Both men and women, huh?
We have a number of dads that are stay-at-home dads.
Excuse me?
We have a number of dads who are stay-at-home dads.
Oh, stay-at-home dad.
And then the wife works.
That's true.
Or they both have jobs, both have part-time jobs, and they kind of arrange their schedules to supervise the kids.
Yeah. Do you have brothers and sisters, Caitlin?
Yes, I do.
How many do you have?
I have see. I have 4 brothers and 1 sister.
4 brothers and 1 sister.
Yes.
They're all homeschooled?
Yeah, 2, well,
Or is some older, maybe out of school?
I have an older brother, and he's in college.
He's in college.
He's 23.
But he was homeschooled?
No.
No, he wasn't.
No.
Okay.
And then I have a 5-year-old brother who is being homeschooled, and the younger brother he's just really small still.
Okay.
And so is the little girl.
He's at that age that you were years ago. He can't concentrate. Okay.
Yes.
He's still having a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But that must be great to see the kids come in and see them improve.
It's a lot of fun when I look out in the courtyard and I see, everything from kindergartners to 12th grade.
Yeah.
And it's kind of nice because we don't have the behavior issues. If you
Yeah.
put a teenage boy with rampaging hormones around a little kindergartner who's just looking up at him, they don't tend to act out. They kind of recognize that there are little kids around and they behave differently.
The difference between, charter schools, private schools for whatever, religion, or
Yeah.
public schools is vastly different.
Yeah.
My son taught summer school, and he was teaching at a Catholic grammar school, and he had to teach, the bishop said, "Oh, let anybody come to the summer school." He said, "I never want to teach public school kids again in my life." He said they're so poorly behaved, the discipline just wasn't there. Yeah.
Well, and the parents, we have a lot of parents who come to school with the children,
Yeah.
and they can be there all day. And having 25 or 30 moms on campus or dads on campus,
Yeah.
yeah, we have really active, involved parents, so we're
those
exceptionally
mothers with
lucky.
nightsticks.
No, those mothers with expectation.
Yeah, expectation. That's really good. Now, what sort of some of the things that would be of interest to the public out there that we haven't covered, about homeschooling? I mean, we talked about the benefits, we talked about how some of the procedural things, how you help the students out, how you help the parents, how they participate. What other things?
I think one of the real advantages of it is very much a community. It's like an extended family.
So everybody gets to know each other.
You get to know everyone. It's a small campus. There's the central quad. We have a room that we have a parent volunteer who does once a week a luncheon, and the kids and the parents and the teachers come in and get whatever she makes from scratch, and it's utterly
wow.
marvelous. You'll hear last year we had a wonderful performing rock band, and they used to be impromptu concerts and rock group performances out in the quad. I think I heard the same chords as much as Ann did over and over and over until they got to the 4th chord. But needless to say, it was a good song, so
Yeah, that's right.
it was a lot
Yeah.
of fun. And I think the kids, as Ann was saying, of all ages interact.
Yeah.
And so they really help each other. We're developing a program next year, and I just talked to 7 of my students in a computer workshop about doing peer tutoring for small children in computer technology, and they were just totally enthralled. They wanted to do it so badly. So we see the high schoolers waiting for the next class to come in of 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders to help them learn how to handle a computer. And it's
Wow.
marvelous.
Do you tutor sometimes?
This is actually my first year at Mountain Oaks, so I was
Okay.
just getting to know this.
Do you help your 5-year-old brother?
No, not really. I have a lot of homework.
Oh, you got enough to keep you busy.
Yes.
Or, now, do you think you miss anything by not going to public school?
Not really. I say that now that I'm at Mountain Oaks because when I was in other homeschool programs, there was no social activities.
Oh, like she's talking about. Yeah.
Yes, it depended on how much you wish to be secluded, really. And at Mountain Oaks, it's really hard to be secluded.
Okay.
And that's what I like about it is that I can go to class and spend an hour and a half with people, and learn and still,
Still have a good time.
Yes.
When you're at home and you're actually, going through your textbooks and trying to advance in these various subjects, is that hard for you? You have to discipline yourself, or does your mom check on you and say, "Are you doing this? Have you done this?"
She checks every time I go to turn in work, which I turn in work once a week, just to make sure that I've completed everything on my schedule. Doing the work isn't difficult or making myself do the work isn't difficult.
Okay. But so not all young people are disciplined that well.
Yeah, that's true.
Say, I've got to do it, I'm going to do it. Some say, I have to do it, but I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
But you're able to do that.
Yeah.
Okay. What other things come to your mind, Ann, about, as we were talking about?
The enrichment programs are what I think of almost immediately. We still have pottery. We still have music.
Yeah.
We have
Sports, as you said, too.
we have sports. We have a theater program. We have a theater. We have a full-size gym. So at least at the San Andreas site, the enrichment is pretty significant. And those are classes that if a student has an interest in art, they can come. Once a month, Martha Wallace comes down and does watercolors for all the different ages.
Well,
Yeah, and the pottery is an extremely popular class. Lots of kids like to do that. So
now, could you handle more kids? on the
yes, but there would be a finite point, I
camp?
think.
Yeah. What, you said 300 and something. What would be the flow
For
over?
that particular campus, I would think we would maybe top out around, boy, we'd be a squeeze at 350 to 400.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we would really be a squeeze.
Now, if someone, parents out there, especially if they wanted some more information about homeschooling, what's the best place to obtain it?
They can go to our website, which is www.mountainoaks, all lowercase and all smushed together,
Okay.
.org,
Okay,
or they
Mountain-
can call the school and talk to the admissions and registrar.
It's just listed as Mountain Oaks?
It is, yeah.
Okay.
If you just Google Mountain Oaks School, you'll find us.
That's
And
good.
then, or call the school and talk to, our registrar's name is Samantha, and she will give you all the information. We encourage people to come and take a tour.
Or just personally call Jaylynne.
Yeah.
She's never busy.
Yeah,
Just drop in any time. But, well, it's good to talk to you. There went our 29 minutes.
oh gosh.
So is there anything anybody wants to add, just in closing?
No, thank you for the opportunity, though, to
Oh, thanks for
clarify
coming.
Mountain Oaks
Really
and
appreciate that. Thanks for
homeschooling.
coming. Wish you
Thank
well in
you.
college, whatever you do.
Thank you.
Don't go into international politics. Okay? Well, maybe we need you. That could be. But nice to see you all, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
And maybe we'll maybe get some parents out here sometime and get them to talk about it too.
That would be fun. We have several parents who would love to come and talk to you, I'm
Okay,
sure.
appreciate
Yeah.
that. Well, there goes another Calaveras Living, and we'll see you next time. Hope you enjoyed it.